Been in construction project program management and construction management for several years and spent 6 years in the Marines. I got started in PMI back in 2005. I was introduced to it by Matt Dean, actually. We were working together at FS, and he was putting together a group of people to go take a PMP boot camp. He invited me to join him, and at that point I had no idea what PMP was, what PMI was. I couldn't even spell it at that time. So started Googling it and finding out what it was about. First thought was that I probably didn't have the required experience, and been in project management for several years by that time, but was still working on my bachelor's degree. Once I got involved in the PMP and PMI, I realized that the 6 years I spent in the Marines probably would have counted towards that experience, because I was managing a large program and several small projects. So in retrospect, I probably should have looked into it a little bit more. Actually took my PMP exam in 2009, got certified, self-studied, didn't do any of the boot camps or anything like that. So that's how I got started. I've revamped these slides and this presentation several times because it kept coming out like an advertisement for PMI. I didn't want it to be that. I just wanted to highlight the things that I find useful as being a PMI member. There's a lot of resources available on the PMI.org website. I use them frequently. And so I just kind of wanted to explore that and share that with everyone. And Jason, I think you have a lot of PMI knowledge. And if anyone has anything that they want to share throughout this presentation, please just join in. Okay, so PMI, Project Management Institute, is broken down into different things that they do. The certification, obviously everyone knows about that. They produce and maintain the global standards. They have several chapters and communities of practice. They provide training and education. And one thing that you should be clear about is the training and education. They don't teach you how to be a project manager or a program manager. The training and education is all about professional development. They do a lot of research. Probably the biggest one is the annual salary survey, which sometimes is pretty depressing when you look at that. And then they provide a governance. Maybe this computer just slow. Okay, so I'm going to go through each one of those individually. Certification, it says here that there are 7 certifications recognized in the knowledge and competency. The Certified Associate in Project Management, that's so a project manager doesn't have the experience or education required for PMP, but is involved in project management. More like an assistant project manager, along those lines. PMP, everyone's pretty much familiar with that. Program management, portfolio management, agile professions, and this business analysis is actually, it says 7 at the top. If you see, there's 8 things there. The BA PBA is a pilot right now. They're testing that as a certification. And then risk management and schedule and professional. I'm not really sure why they decided to have certifications in risk management and scheduling and pretty much ignored all the other components of being a project manager. Moving on to the foundational standards. These are the bodies of knowledge that the PMI produces, maintains, updates regularly. They're developed and updated by thousands of volunteers with vast experience. It's the PMBOK, program management, body of knowledge, portfolio management, and the OPM3. PMBOK, I think everyone's familiar with that if they've prepared for PMP. I actually, one of the advantages of being a PMI member is all these standards are available for download online, so you don't have to carry your books around with you. When I first became a PMP, I wasn't really into it that much. I just wanted to, the check box on my resume. But I started referring back to the PM block on several occasions and found out that it was really helpful. And I started using it more and more. And as I use it more and more, then I started using the program management, body of knowledge, and portfolio management. And just for fun, I started looking through the OPM3, the management maturity model, which is kind of interesting stuff, but it's nice having access to all that stuff at pretty much any time you need it. It's I think one of the greatest advantages of being a PMI member.
With your access to it in soft copy, are you able to download it or print it, or is it simply just to look on screen?
You can download it. Printing, I've had success printing it. You're not supposed to print it. It has like a watermark stamp on the header and footer. It says digital rights to, and has your name and your PMP number on it. Some printers, no problem at all. They print right out. Other kinds I have to do like a hyper snap and print what I was after.
The reason I asked, I wasn't sure if that was something that you could put onto SharePoint as a resource for.
No, you can't. I think you can purchase a digital copy. I'm not 100% sure on that. Any other questions? All right, so the practice standards and frameworks are kind of subsets of the foundational manuals, a little more focused on specific areas. I've looked through several of these, but haven't spent a whole lot of time with them. There is some good resources in there. I've used, which one was it? The Earned Value Management. I actually have a hard copy of that one. I used it quite a bit. And that was it. This Project Manager Competency Development Framework is something that I'd like to go back and look at. I had never noticed that until I was putting these slides together. This is their second edition of that. It looks, I just kind of thumbed through it, it looks like it's kind of a self-assessment tool for where you are in your project manager competencies. It looked really interesting to me. I'll probably go back and check it out some more. And then you have the extensions, which are extensions to the foundational software extension, construction extension, and government extension. Obviously, I've been through the construction extension quite a bit, use it quite a bit. The government extension, those of us that work with the IC community know that they kind of on their own program, but the experience I had with NASA and AOC, that extension, the government extension, really kind of helps understand them because they actually follow the FAR and the guidelines. They aren't changing things around and making it fit for them. And the practice guides is supporting information instruction. I use the organizational project management one extensively. I was at my previous job, I was tasked to help reorganize the way the project management structure was set up in the construction, our area construction branch, working with the director of construction, and we made it quite a ways through there, and things changed, and kind of like the government, you get almost finished and you change course. So as I said earlier, all this stuff is available on PMI.org. In this case, with the big arrow there is the PMBOK guide and standards. Every one of them, you have to be a member to download them and have access to them. Membership, I think, I just renewed my membership. It was $164 for PMI and PMI WDC. I think it's well worth it think it's, 11, 12 bucks a month to have access to all this stuff. The other big area for PMI are the chapters in community of practice, 280 geographic chapters. PMI WDC is one of the largest, if not the largest, chapter in PMI. Very active, they do a lot. There's all kinds of stuff going on. We'll talk about them in a little bit. And then the industry-specific communities of practice. Here's a list of all the COPs. As you see, the construction industry is purple because I clicked on it when I was going through. I've actually belonged to the construction industry, energy, oil, gas, and petrochemical, utility, and I forget which one it is. These are kind of like a LinkedIn group. They will have blogs, people post blogs on there. They'll have announcements of stuff that's coming up. It's not very active, I've found. It seems like more people participate in like LinkedIn and other online type communities more than they do here. But what it does have is PDU opportunities. The construction industry one just had a webinar on mobile devices in the construction. You don't have to be a PMI member to view the live webinars, but the advantage of being a member is, they try to schedule the webinars at lunchtime, but a lot of times you can't make it. So if you're a member, they archive them. You can go back at any time and view any of the webinars and get your PDUs, free PDUs.
Similarly, sorry, I just want to jump in, because one of the advantages of being a member of the DC chapter is their dinners and their sort of lunch and learn like activities they record and make available to members online, and you can still get PDUs from it even if you couldn't actually make it to the dinner. You can get a PDU for watching it. So.
And one of the things I like about earning PDUs this way is, these are actual practitioners. They're out there hands-on project managers, program managers. So it seems to me like if you're going to put the time and effort into gaining your PDUs, getting that little extra insight and actual knowledge instead of just spending your time getting the PDUs elsewhere, just seems worth it to me. This is just kind of a screenshot of the construction community practice. You see you log in. It kind of describes a little bit about what they do. But I have that open here. So this is what the community of practice site looks like. You can see it's not real active. The last blog was in May. I think that's the only one. These top two are the only ones that have comments on them. No one's commented on them on the older ones. Here you go. You missed the June 26th webinar. You can watch it here and gain your PDUs. The activity feed over on the right, you can see occasionally stuff pops up. Looks like about once a month or so. And they announce everything over here. So it's every once in a while I'll go into like this one just to see what opportunities are available to pick up at some PDUs, or if there's just any topic of interest. And training and education. These are PMI's big ones are the Global Congress, the Seminars World, and the e-learning. Seminars World and Global Congress are pretty much they're kind of like conventions. They'll have a whole bunch of people there giving like 1 hour presentations on some subject in project or program management. Opportunity to earn PDUs, network and socialize with other project program managers, get to know what's going on in the industry. It's also, they seem to be a pretty good event for recruiting. You see a lot of people walking around handing out their resumes, a lot of people collecting resumes. if you're looking for certified PMs. It's a good opportunity there. And then there's also 1,600 registered education providers. I don't have much experience with the reps. We hired Simply Learn to come in for a PMP boot camp here. I think you were in that, weren't you?
No, I got mine at the end of the year. I went through RMC or RMS, Rita McCullough.
Oh, yeah,
Rita's is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone that was here for the Simply Learn, I would kind of help put that together. I didn't help put it together. I kind of got it involved in the tail end of it. From what I hear, it was not a very well-received experience. But my point was that the reps all kind of focus on PMP, boot camp type stuff. Again, I have never found, maybe you guys have different experience, I've never found anything in PMI or anything PMI related that says, we're going to teach you how to manage a project.
No, they teach you how to pass the test.
Right. Yep. It's all about how to pass the test.
It's all about how to pass the test on those boot camps. You better already know how to be a project manager.
I did some of the online training as well. I did 2 6-week programs to get the credits to be able to take the exam, and I thought those were really helpful. And if it wasn't for that, when I took the boot camp, I wouldn't have got anything out of the boot camp, because you have no experience, and then you go into a boot camp, you're gonna just drown. So.
Yes, like I said earlier, I don't have, I never took a boot camp or anything. I used Rita McCullough's, I forgot, she has basically a book, How to Prep for the PMP. I use that as my study guide. I read the PM block like 4 or 5 times, and I purchased her practice. Mm-hmm. And when I went and took the exam, it was like, they say you're not supposed to steal the questions, but somehow she got the questions because they were almost identical. So that was probably the way I made it through. She died.
She did pass away, yeah.
5 or 6 years ago. She had
Couple years ago.
breast cancer, wasn't it? That's sad. So other education resources on the PMI.org website is e-learning on demand. The e-learning, I used to do that quite a bit. They have the quizzes that, like in the bottom right-hand corner here, the quiz. You pay like $15. You get an article on some topic in PMP or in project management, and then they have a whole list of different subjects. You read the article, you take an online quiz, get a 70% on the quiz, and you get your PDU. There's a few of them that are like 1.5 or 2 PDUs, depending on how long the article is and how long the quiz is. But the longer it is, more PDUs, more money they want. But I think it was $15 for 1 PDU, and I think it was like $25 for 2. So it's reasonable. Also in the e-learning, they have basically like white papers. They have a few books you can read online, and some other resources that you can do right online that you can log as PDUs on self-directed learning. And then the Seminars World coming up in Chicago. It's August 11th through 14th. Again, it's just kind of like a conference. Looks like they're having 7 topics this year. Has anyone ever been to a PMI Seminars World? I'd like to go sometime just to see what it's all about, but it sounds to me like a PDU frenzy. Again, to get to the professional development stuff, PMI main site, just click on the professional development and it'll lead you right there. Research. The Pulse of Profession is probably the biggest one, and then of course the salary survey is the other one. Pulse of Profession, they break it out into a bunch of different subjects. The recent ones are the high cost of low performance, organizational change, a couple in the PMO area, and complexity. Communications, organization, you can see it's all project program management related stuff. You simply just, if you're a member, just click on the download report, takes you right to it. You can read it. Again, that's I think those are self-directed PDUs. Those are all located in the Knowledge Center. The Knowledge Center is full of all kinds of stuff. I was struggling with something here a few months ago at work. I can't remember exactly what it was. Went to the Knowledge Center, found a white paper that was close or similar to the thing I was struggling with, printed it out, read through it, and it helped me. It didn't solve my problem, but it helped lead me in the right direction. So, again, that was another benefit that I think is well worth the $100 and some a year. And the final thing with PMI is governance. I don't really know much about it. I know it's 15 members. They elect 5 new ones every 3 years. I'm not sure what they do. I think they make sure that the standards are all up to date and manage the volunteers and stuff like that. Other online benefits, monthly e-newsletter. I used to receive those, but it seemed like it was filling up my inbox too much, so I just started reading the two, was it PMI Today and the PM Journal. Resume posting and job searches. Don't recommend you do that at work, unless you're wanting to be on that new the map or the mark on the boomerang program. Online video archives. There are a plethora of videos you can sit down and watch, gain a PDU here or there. And again, the community announcements. This is from the construction community. If you missed the webinar in June, you can go back and watch that. So that is everything I have about PMI. Before I move off into the local chapters, anyone have anything to add or anything I can clarify or add to? All right, so PMI WDC, I have done quite a bit with them. They offer so much stuff. You could practically do something every day if you wanted to. The big one is the monthly dinner out at Fair Lakes. You get chicken dinner every month. It starts with a PM Tools session, and then they have the dinner, and some of the presenters that they get for the dinner are just, it's phenomenal people that they bring in. Very interesting subjects, and again, the PDU. You get one PDU for the PM Tools session, which is a focus. It's usually led by a local project manager, usually someone who's a senior in a company that does project management. Matt Weaver is from Project Weavers. He's there quite a bit. He owns Project Weavers. They're a REP, but they also teach project management classes. He gives a lot of the PM Tools sessions. Learn quite a bit from him. It's the third Tuesday of every month, 7 p.m. And just like everything else, if you remember PMI WC, you can go back, and if you missed the dinner, you can go back and watch the streaming video on their website. Other local community meetings, like I said, you can have lunches about every day, or at least once a week. I've been to the FAA luncheon series, the M2D2. Both of those are very good. I used to go to those. I never missed them when I was working downtown because I could walk to them. The Department of Labor was right next to the building I worked in. They have, if you guys work downtown, go and have a U.S. government ID card, badge. I recommend you go to the Department of Labor for lunch. They have the best cafeteria. It's on the top floor. You walk in, tell the guard that you're here for lunch. He'll tell you how to get up to the cafeteria. It is awesome. And cheap too. So anyway, have luncheons. It's the same thing as pretty much like a the PM Tools workshop. It's an hour long. You get a PDU. Most cases, you bring your own lunch. Like the FAA and M2D2 are they open up the cafeteria, the FAA cafeteria, so you can buy your lunch there. And every time I've been there, the FAA has this huge conference room that's attached to the cafeteria. So you go through the cafeteria, get your food, take it into the conference room, and eat it while they discuss whatever the topic is.
There's a breakfast also, PM in the AM. Yeah, sorry. I haven't been in a long time. That's usually really, really good.
Have you been to one?
Yeah, I have. I haven't been in a while because they're usually downtown, but they're really interesting.
Do they still have that at the Washington Press Club?
Press Club, yeah.
Could you want to describe a little bit? I've never been to one.
Oh, yeah,
I've always missed them.
They're like, it's structured like the dinner in that there's a speaker, and the speaker speaks for a set amount of time on a set topic. It's usually a local project manager. But there's networking beforehand, and then a plated, breakfast meal, just like the dinner. So it's a little pricier than the brown bag lunches because they're feeding you. But it's a PDU, and it's a great opportunity to meet other people. I've always had some pretty decent networking opportunities there.
All right, sounds cool. Other is the PM after hours. It's just there's no PDUs associated with that. It's just networking. They usually meet up at a local bar somewhere. The ones that I've heard about. I've never actually. I've never made it to one. They seem to be popular in Arlington and Reston. I see them advertised frequently. PM and AM. Jason just talked about that. And the PMI WDC Toastmasters is actually held at McLean High School. I think it's the first Tuesday of the month. If you're interested in Toastmasters and project management, it is, from what I hear, a very good organization to belong to. I think they say you can earn like 25 or 30 PDUs per year just by participating there. They focus all of the, I don't know if you remember Toastmasters, but it's public speaking type stuff. So they focus all their public speaking on project management related topics. And they also have the PU programs, opportunities abound. Professional development activities. I've been to a couple of their professional development classes. The ones that I'm familiar with are usually held out at Nova in Reston. Reston has a small Nova. They rent some space in the building there. Really interesting classes. Usually a one-day class. You get 7 PDUs. Varied topics, everything from leadership to risk management to WBS. You name it, they'll have a topic on it. And then they also offer local PMP certification prep courses and a lot of study groups, people preparing for the PMP. If you go on the PMI WTC website, you'll find people trying to organize study groups. And people, PMP certified practitioners will volunteer to help lead a study group and stuff like that.
They actually have their prep course for the fall coming up at the end of this month. It's, I think, whatever the last 2 weekends of this month are, and it's all day Saturday and Sunday, so it's 2 different courses, if you're interested. It's generally priced a little lower than a lot of the reps are, but they do them less often because they don't want to compete. I mean, they're partners with some of the reps. They don't want to necessarily compete, so they offer them, I think, one in the fall, one in the spring.
And the big thing for PMI WDC is the symposium coming up in September. I think there's interest, like 3 or 4 Marcon people. We'll probably send out an invitation, see if we can get a nice sized group together to go. We talked again, Jason and I did, about sponsoring a table. Talking about it last year, we talked about it again this year. I think we're probably going to just visit this year and find out what it's about as far as setting up a table and being a sponsor, and how we can better prepare ourselves so that when we do set up our table, that we have a goal in mind, an outcome. I've never been to a symposium, but I'm guessing it's like most of the PMI WDC type events, where you're not going to go and market to a client, but you can go and collect resumes, and kind of market yourself as an employer in project management, and also to network and build relationships with other project management organizations, companies. Maybe do a teaming activity on for a client. But I mean, I don't know if anyone else had any other experience, but that's pretty much what I see happening at most of the events. Anyway, symposium, opportunity to earn 7 PDUs, and hopefully we can get a nice, good size mark on representation there this year. Actually, there's another, PMIWC has another symposium at the University of Maryland. It is coming up in August. I thought I had a slide on that. I think it's August 14th or something like that. It's a smaller version of this. It's not advertised as much. Probably a smaller turnout and it's the same deal. Go view presentations, earn PDUs. So if you go to the PMI WDC website, you can learn more about that and sign up. So that is all I have on PMI and PMI WDC. If you have any questions or if I can help you out with anything, contact info is there. And if you're interested, when you take the PMP exam and become certified, you get a free year of PMI membership. I don't think that goes with WDC though, does it?
No, but when you join PMI WDC, you get a free dinner.
Yeah.
You get a free registration for one of the dinners.
PMI WDC is cheap, $35 for annual membership, $10 off of every dinner. You get one free dinner, one free chicken dinner. They have discounts for everything on their site. Same with PMI. If you're a member, you get discounts if you order materials or anything off of their website. So there's a little bit of return on investment for your annual membership fees. If you're not a member of PMI or PMI WDC and you're interested in seeing what is available online, just let me know. I'll log on to my account and show you around, show you where the manuals are located and some of the other resources that are available to members. So that's all I have. Anything else?
Based on your experience with PMI and the resources they have available, has, I guess, Marcon in general expressed any interest, or has there been any efforts to begin some kind of data drop location, that if there are tools that, whether the company purchases, we put on there so that anybody can use them at certain times. If there's, I know that through RMS or RMC, I forget what she calls it, there's books and CDs and stuff like that of different quick tools on dealing with project problems, or how to break down a WBS, or any of that kind of stuff that may be helpful for people that aren't in DC, or if there's a resource here, and then we keep moving from project to project over time, that if everything's just on SharePoint or something, we could access it and use it when needed.
We do have a PMP section on SharePoint and Marcon University.
Mm-hmm.
I have been trying to start compiling that type of information. My ambitions are much larger than my time span that I have to put into
Sure,
it.
yeah.
But I'm more than happy to, if you have stuff that you'd like to share through there, just send it to me and I'll just upload it.
Cool.
Or if you have a lot of stuff, then we'll probably just get Rob to give you access to that part of the SharePoint, so you can just upload it directly.
Excellent.
And there's also, in addition to the manuals and materials that are available to PMI members, but which you're not supposed to share, there's a whole PMI knowledge base, which I use personally for schedule templates and examples of things and things like that that are totally free and reassured to them there. So I mean, maybe we could collect things like that. Yeah, that kind. There's a ton of stuff in there.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I think it's here the yeah, where those templates. I know what you're talking about. I use those all the time.
The knowledge shelf articles. But that's one of them in the net tools and templates.
Yeah, so you have
It's an enormous help to me sometimes. Like just as a starting point for certain things.
yeah, they are very helpful. They are not. You have to know. I don't know why it won't let me on. Oh, there we go. So it just gives you basically an outline template of what you would want to include or may want to include in a project charter.
I mean, you can take that, slap a logo on it, and call it a day. I've done that once or twice. I mean,
And there's also another area, or on the internet, there's project management documents.com. I think that's the name of it. They have a lot of these same, like exact same templates, open to anyone. I've gone there a lot and downloaded their samples as a starting point for, especially for like a PMP project management plan. So, yeah.
yeah, when I first started doing, customer planning and scheduling rather than just, planning and scheduling for my team, this was helpful to me because I wanted to know how other people were doing it. Like, what is the customer going to expect to see out of a project plan, out of a task list, out of a WBS, all that stuff. So what are other people doing? I know I had my way of doing things, but this was great for looking at not only the PMI way of doing things, but what other project managers around the world are doing.
The other thing you mentioned was the knowledge shelf.
Right.
Down at the first line right now.
So they have it all organized by subject.
When did you say you got your PMP?
When?
Yeah.
2009.
So now that you've had it for a little while, do you plan on getting any of the other certifications?
I don't know. I thought about getting the program certification, program management certification. I don't, probably won't.
I'm studying for the Agile Certified Practitioner now because my project is an Agile project and I just sort of want to, it's just like the PMP, you just want to show the customer, that you're familiar with global best practices on how to do this kind of thing. It's not something that my customer requested, but it's something I'm just sort of doing.
Right.
All right, well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Joel.
Thank you.
Councilman?